Did you know that 69% of parents feel uncomfortable talking about money with their kids? Because we feel uncomfortable, it makes sense that we tend to avoid talking about money altogether. However, if we don't break this cycle, our kiddos might have a harder time successfully managing something that could improve their life or could lead to stress and hardships. Hey, I'm Greg Aronoff, and welcome to Inspiring Next Gen Wealth, where we empower parents to raise financially savvy kids, rewrite negative money mindsets, and make money fun and easy to learn. Today, we're breaking down 10 common mistakes parents make so you can avoid them and set your kids up for long-term success. As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The same applies to teaching kids about money. If you haven't started, it's definitely not too late. So, all right, here we go. Mistake number 10, not talking about money early enough. If we never bring up money until our kiddos are a teenager, or we avoid it forever, our kids will still be exposed to a lot of questionable financial thoughts and advice from friends and social media that you have zero control over. A lot of our child's invisible money scripts are starting to be planted either by you or what they're exposed to. It's funny, I had a How I Met Your Mother break the glass type of moment.
Okay, maybe so, but it's no worse than you using the word literally in every other sentence.
Don't they teach vocabulary in Canada?
When someone pointed out that the movies and shows I grew up with tended to paint wealthy people as flawed and someone that you definitely did not want to aspire to. For kids, stories can have direct access into our subconscious. So as parents, we need to be a positive force and reinforce ideas and notions that you can be a good person and have money, and that money can be good for the good it can do. Mistake number 9, avoiding conversations about spending and credit cards. As a busy parent with kids in tow, we often just swipe the credit card at the grocery store without explaining to our kiddos that it's really borrowed money that we have to pay back. To them, it just looks like a magic money card. So without clear guidance on spending within your means and using credit wisely, it's no surprise that most adults surveyed said they wish they'd taken on less debt. Yet, many of us aren't sure how to help our kids avoid making the same mistakes. Raising kids to be truly savvy about spending and debt involves more than simply scaring them with tales of sky-high interest rates and relentless collection calls. So here are 5 tips from Beth Kolbener's great book, Make Your Kid a Money Genius, Even If You're Not. Buying stuff costs money, whether you use cash or credit. Make sure your kids understand that every purchase, regardless of the payment method, involves spending real money. You can't always get what you want. Kolbener suggests that when you're shopping, resist giving in to your kids' requests for those little extras. And this not only reduces nagging, but also builds their patience muscles, which will help serve them when they have their own credit card. Credit cards can make things more expensive. If they don't pay the credit card bill in full right away, they'll owe interest on what they initially borrowed. Pay bills on time. Teach them that even one late payment can damage their credit score. So sticking to on-time payments is a habit worth developing early. Don't rely on credit cards to cover everyday expenses. Encourage a zero balance approach. They should only use a credit card if they can pay it off in full each month. So stress the importance of living within their means, not off a growing pile of credit card debt. Now, how can we make impulse control practice more fun? With candy, of course. So here's a fun game of building those patience muscles. It's called the treat trade-off. And it's basically the famous marshmallow test from your Psychology 101 days.
You like marshmallows? You do? Well, here's a marshmallow for you. You can eat it now, but if you wait until I come back, you can have 2 of them.
You'll need a small treat your child enjoys, like a marshmallow or a small piece of candy or a cookie. Show them the treat and say, you can have this one now, or if you can wait 5 minutes, I'll give you another one. You can set a timer on your phone or the device that's always listening.
Okay.
And if they manage to wait the full 5 minutes, they earn a second treat. If they give in early, they only get the one. So then after the game, talk about what happened. If they waited, praise their patience. If they didn't, discuss why it was so hard and how sometimes waiting can get them something even better. Even at a young age, understanding that waiting leads to more can translate into waiting to buy something until they have enough money, which is planting those powerful saving habits. Okay, mistake number 8, rewarding good behavior with money. If you ever find yourself saying something like, "I'll pay you $2 if you clean your room right now," you could be setting yourself and your kiddo up for future headaches. It can be logical to think about allowance and chores as a great way to teach hard work and non-entitlement. However, rather than a real job that can have severe consequences, if your child decides that the money just isn't worth the chores, you might find yourself in weird territory in using an old school "because I said so" line, which doesn't leave anyone feeling good. The paying for chores debate also gets into intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation means your kids help out because they're motivated internally, and it feels good to pitch in. Extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is when kids do chores solely for the money. Then if you take away the money, you also take away the motivation and their cooperation. So what can we do instead? We can have chores and allowance, totally separate. Chores are just something that has to be done because we're a family and we all pitch in and do our share. Then separate that from the allowance that they get. And allowance is used for teaching and learning money management. But keeping chores and allowance separate, we're helping them build lifelong habits of responsibility and teamwork without needing a cash reward just to lend a hand. And here's a bonus tip from How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. They recommend putting a lot of emphasis on the behaviors that you want to reinforce. So rather than just negative reinforcements when things don't get done, focus on every time they do something helpful. Eventually, they will internalize the helpful behavior and will do it much more often. Now, here are 2 ideas for making chores more fun. Number 1, chore adventures. By framing chores as missions or quests, kids can feel a sense of purpose and excitement. And the satisfaction of completing a quest or saving the day leans into intrinsic motivation by making the activity itself enjoyable and purposeful. Number 2, a chore league. The idea of a friendly competition encourages intrinsic motivation by making the task of doing chores feel like a fun family challenge. However, be cautious. If rewards are always tied to the leaderboard, it could shift some of that motivation toward external prizes. Mistake number 7, not teaching the value of saving. In a previous video, we talked about how money habits are learned as early as age 7. Now, that makes me think of this bit from Jim Rohn.
What should a child do with $1? You won't believe the difference in philosophy. Here's one philosophy. It's only a child and it's only $1. What difference does it make? Wow, what a philosophy. It's only a child and it's only $1. Where do you suppose everything starts for the future? Here's where it starts. A child with $1. You say, well, they're only a child once, let them spend it all. Well, when would you hope that would stop? You say, well, wait till they're 50 and broke like me and then they'll change. No. Do you want them to wind up like you? And the answer is no. So we got to teach them a better philosophy.
Even though saving money makes logical sense, it can be hard to choose saving $5 over getting this new stuffy right now. In the show notes, you'll find a link to a great game called Create Your Dream Life, where kids can learn about wants and needs while staying within a budget. And it's yours, totally free to print out. Mistake number 6, not discussing investing and the power of compound interest. Now, here's a big one that often gets overlooked. Talking to kids early about investing. If and when parents talk about money with their kids, most will talk about saving or spending and maybe budgeting, but there's a good chance they leave out one of the most powerful money levers, investing. We all know how important investing is, but how do we make it relatable and desirable for young kiddos? Example 1, you can paint the picture of a small snowball that gets pushed down a very, very long hill. Over time, it builds up and grows into a huge boulder. Example 2, you can equate investing like an army that can clone itself. The cloning is slow to begin, but with enough time, the army will grow into a huge number. Example 3. You can play this would you rather game. Ask them, would you rather have $1 million right now or just 1 penny that doubles every day for 30 days? Now you can work out the math together so that by day 10, it's only about $5. And on day 20, it's still like around $5,000. But those last 10 days is where the magic of compounding really starts to add up. And by day 30, you're at 5 million. So hopefully that will get them excited to start investing and early. If you're able to help your kiddo invest a little bit of their money right now and do it consistently, by the time they're in their 40s, they could realistically be looking at $1 million portfolio. Mistake number 5, not setting financial goals with kids. Now I'll admit, I've definitely just handed over an allowance without helping my kids set up any meaningful goal. But I've learned helping them set a goal is easy and interesting. All you have to do is just ask them what they really want. From there, pick something realistic that won't happen overnight. It should take some saving and patience. And together, you can look up at the price and figure out how many weeks it'll take to get there. This turns saving into a game where they learn to hold off on immediate treats for a bigger reward later on. When your child's eyeing a cute stuffy, you can remind them, yep, you could buy this now, but if you wait just a little bit, you'll be closer to your goal. You can even model this yourself. Share your own saving goals, like putting aside cash for a family vacation. Show them that little by little, a little becomes a lot. And that waiting isn't just about missing out today, it's about achieving something even better tomorrow. So how can we make saving more fun and more likely to happen? The book Money Mammoth recommends coming up with an exciting vision of what they're saving for and giving that savings account or a jar or folder a specific name. So step 1, instead of just a bike fund, it's Xander's Cherry Red Cannondale Bike Fund. Step 2, draw or cut out a picture of the goal item. Each time they add to their savings, color in a portion of the picture to show their progress. Watching their savings fill up is not only visual and exciting, but it also turns waiting and saving into a game they'll be proud of. Mistake number 4, not sharing the importance of budgeting. Now I know budgets aren't super exciting, but here's the thing. When adults were asked what they wished they'd learned earlier, many point to budgeting. If we're paying bills behind the scenes and never showing our kids how money is allocated, we're missing a huge teaching moment. Instead of calling it a budget, you could try Ramit Sethi's idea of a conscious spending plan. So teach your kids to focus their money on what really matters to them and then cut back on the rest. This makes saving feel empowering rather than restrictive. And here's the secret sauce for success: automation. When they start earning, encourage them to set up automatic transfers so saving, investing, sharing, and spending are just built right in. For right now, here are 2 different money allocation plans. The first one is simple and straightforward. You can get 3 clear mason jars and create labels for save, spend, and give. Divide any incoming money among them so kids see that different goals are normal. The second plan comes from Meet, and it's a bit more structured. You'll need 4 mason jars, and you'll allocate their income money in the following percentages: 20 to 30% for saving, 40 to 50% for spending, 10 to 20 for investing, and 10 for sharing. Whether simple or detailed, these early habits will help guide your kids toward lifelong financial success. Mistake number 3, not encouraging entrepreneurial thinking. Yep, it can be weird to think about your kid having a job and doing work when they're so little, but this is also a great opportunity to foster an entrepreneurial mindset and empower them that they can always earn more by creating value and helping others. As Daniel Priestley, author of How to Raise Entrepreneurial Kids, says, nurturing a child's curiosity, creativity, and problem-solving skills today helps them become confident and resourceful entrepreneurs tomorrow. And by encouraging entrepreneurial activities early on, you're showing your kiddos that there's more than one way to earn a living, beyond the old model of just trading time for a paycheck. So how can we foster their inner entrepreneur? Idea 1, Shark Tank, kid style. You can have a family night where your kid pitches their small business idea. The goal is to have fun, not shut them down like a real life Kevin O'Leary. Instead, play along even if the idea is silly or outrageous. And you can use these question prompts to get them thinking. Who are your customers? What will it cost to make your product or service? What price will you charge? What makes your product or service special? Idea 2, movie night. Your child can organize a movie screening outdoors in your backyard or a local park, and they offer the movie for free to attract a crowd, but they charge a small fee for snacks like candy and popcorn. So this is a fantastic way for kids to learn the basics of running a business without any high pressure stakes. Idea number 3, the classic lemonade stand. One of the biggest takeaways is to think through where to set up shop. They'll have much more success outside of a gym or maybe even a garage sale, where they'll get a better concentration of people rather than random people walking by the park. Mistake number 2, overlooking the importance of an emergency fund and living below their means. Here's another crucial lesson that often slips through the cracks. Not teaching kids about having an emergency fund and living below their means. You can explain that an emergency fund is like a safety net that helps you bounce back quickly if something unexpected comes your way. No need to tell horror stories or go to the darkest timeline. You can just let them know that an emergency fund is like an umbrella for a rainy day. Starting with small, consistent amounts, little by little, that emergency umbrella can minimize a lot of future stress. So how can we teach the importance of an emergency fund in a fun way with good old Monopoly? In the classic board game, you can be hit with expenses like fees or taxes or unexpectedly high rent. And if you don't have enough cash reserves, you might have to mortgage properties or sell assets. So this can be a low-key way of learning about an emergency fund. All right, last one. Mistake number 1, assuming schools will teach everything kids need to know about money. It's getting better, but financial literacy still isn't a major part of most school curriculums. According to the Center for Financial Literacy at Champlain College, only 7 states, as of this recording, require high school students to take a semester-long personal finance course. Utah was the first to implement a standalone course back in 2008. And while more states are adding this requirement, the majority of financial education still falls on us, parents. For younger kiddos, they might get a brief overview on currency and math, but they rarely learn important financial literacy concepts. That's why it's up to us to demystify money for them. So simple, everyday examples like how we budget for groceries or handle unexpected expenses can make a huge difference. Practical experience is where financial literacy truly comes to life. By stepping in and providing these lessons, we're setting our kids up for long-term financial success. To help learn some of these money concepts, we thought it would be fun to reimagine the old school Oregon Trail game as the Financial Freedom Trail, where essentially you get money lessons rather than dysentery. In the 8-bit retro video, we leave Okayville and attempt the journey to the wealthy woods. Watch with your kids and see if this pixelated homage starts any fun and interesting conversations. Leave a comment below sharing your biggest takeaway and any financial lessons that you've taught your kids that worked. And if this video helped, subscribe to join our community. And until next time, remember, financial literacy starts with one conversation. Let's make it count.